Alright, so I've got Ray here prepping for a meet, his second meet actually. We've got 100 kilos in the bar here. He's one of our newest 77 kilo lifters. We've been focusing a lot on technique. Let's see what he does here. Okay, so you can see there's that lean in the catch. That's actually a common issue that he's had. Ray's a super strong dude coming into this, but he's self-taught, so there's quite a few things that we can clean up with this technique to help improve. So the video's a little blurry here, but it's 105 kilos. I believe this is his last snatch of the day here. I think this one looks a little bit better. Cut the bar closer. Still a little bit of a lean forward. Let's check it out. There we go, better bar path, still that lean forward. We'll work on that. You know, it's just an old habit he has from never really getting any correction since he's just lifted in his garage. Super strong legs, squats 175 kilos from the front, 206 kilos in the back coming in. He actually just had hernia surgery, so he's on the rebound right now, looking to qualify for the American Open this year. Alright, so right here I'm having him do jerk drops as a warm-up before we start cleaning jerks. You know, we're just working on speed under the bar, punching, footwork. You know, it's a good warm-up, just like I do with the snatches. We always try and work some position stuff before we actually get to the lifting. Kind of prep our bodies, and you know, it's just a great warm-up to keep warm. So here I'm going to have him go ahead and dip and jerk here. The dip I'm not really too concerned about. We're just doing a small dip and then drive up versus just punching under. You know, it's just basically a progression, you know, the next step up. So it's just a nice easy dip. We don't have to worry about being super fast or explosive. We're just going through the positions. The biggest thing that we want to focus on is, you know, his positioning in the dip. You know, you can see there he didn't fully extend, but that's not really a big deal because what we're looking for is that he drives his body straight down and then getting those knees too far over the toes and shifting the balance there. It's a common problem among a lot of lifters, so something we like to focus on ahead of time. Alright, so here he is with 100 kilos on the bar. I didn't even worry about recording the earlier ones, just wanted to get a few of the heavier weights. It's got a strong clean, however you can see the bar kind of over pulls it there, crashes down on him a little bit. I mean, it's light, so it wasn't bad, but it's got a habit of hanging out in the bottom, and so I'm trying to break that habit because when we get up to some heavier weights, you don't want to be thinking about catching it sitting in the bottom. You know, it's just going to make your legs a bit more tired. You can see there he did it again. So one of the things I'm talking with them about between lifts is, you know, working on his timing. So even if that means catching the bar a little higher to make sure there's a smooth transition onto the shoulders and driving straight out of that hole once he reaches the bottom. I think he does a better job on this one here. Let's take a look. There we go. You know, still kind of crashed down on him. The timing wasn't quite right, but at least he didn't try and sit in the bottom too long like he normally does. You know, just little habits like that. Today was a rough day for jerks for him. Didn't go very well. He wasn't really feeling it. It's something we're going to work on. We've been trying to make some changes on his jerk to clean it up a bit. There we go. That was probably his best clean so far. Oh. He usually pushes the bar out in front, so catching it behind him like that definitely wasn't prepared for it. A little unstable there. Just caught him by surprise. No big deal. We'll keep working on it. You know, we try not to overcoach it. You know, since he normally doesn't lose it behind like that, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to, you know, let him move on to the next lift and see what happens. You know, we look for, you know, consistent issues with lifting and correct those, not correct every single time he makes a mistake. Alright, so we got 130 kilos on the bar here. This is his last jerk, or clean and jerk this session. Oh, didn't quite miss it, so I'm just going to go have him repeat it one more time, but this is the last weight he's going to do. Super explosive. I like that timing. It was a bit better than some of his earlier cleans. See how this jerk pulls together. He has the tendency to go a little wide with his feet, so something we're working on. You can see he's a little bit forward, but he's able to pull it back into place. And we'll just keep working away. Alright, so now I have Brian here He came in for a training session, or a personal one-on-one session here. So I'm having to do some before stuff so you can kind of see, and then we're going to work on some technique work and then have him start lifting. He's doing a lot better than he was the first day he came in. This is actually day number 2. He came in just to lift, and I gave him some cues because he was really pushing all the weight into his toes and getting way forward with his lift. You can see right there, it's more like how he used to do it, you know, jumping forward like that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to break it down here, and I'm going to have him go from the power position. I'm just going to work on getting tall, driving the hips up instead of out. So we think of it like an uppercut. The bar is sitting there in his hip crease. We want to uppercut that bar vertically versus hitting the bar with our hips, which is more like a jab. So if you want to use it in a boxing sense, uppercut, not jab. All right, so we're just going to keep working from the hip to a power snatch. Just let him focus on getting tall. There we go. That was a good rep right there. All right, so the next step is to do the same thing, but now we're going to go ahead and catch it in a full squat here. The one position, catching a squat. You know, for a lot of lifters that are used to more, you know, hitting the bar out and looping it around, they have a hard time creating power and getting tall like this. They always say it seems to feel really weak, that there's not a whole lot of power. It's just an adjustment period. You need to learn how to drive your feet through the floor to aggressively stand tall and create that vertical drive. Goal is, you know, drive the bar as long as it gets to about chest level and you get under it. That's all you need. You don't need to drive the bar way overhead. You don't need to pull it high. Alright, we're going to keep going. We're going to do another round of this, but now we're going to go ahead and take it from the knee. Let him work on pulling back into the hip here. So you can see he gets a little tall there. He doesn't have enough rebending, so there's not going to be much of a vertical drive. So we're just going to work on letting him pull it in. I'm showing him some examples here. One of the cues I use to help people get back into the proper power position is imagine that there's a ceiling directly overhead, and if you pull that bar back into your hips and you're tall, you're going to hit that ceiling. So I tell them, think about staying low right here, and that's just what I told him. So there he is, he stays low, and that looks like a really good power position just by using the cue, stay low. You know, I don't really talk too much about how much you need to rebend your knees or this or that. I let athletes figure it out for themselves. Like I said earlier, the less cues I use, the better. You know, I only cue when necessary. So the less cueing you use, the less the athlete has to think, and the less that can go wrong. Because we all know the more you think, the more you confuse yourself. So we just try and keep it simple. I say bring it down to the knee, now go back to the power position. Sometimes I have to cue it up a little bit more. You can see there, kind of got the hips out again, a little bit of his old habits coming back into play. But he's going to keep working on it. Nice and easy, getting tall. There you go. So, as you can see, there's a lot of reps with the bar. We actually did a lot more repetitions with the bar that are just not shown in this video. You know, we really want to take the time and stress positions, you know, before we add some weight to the bar. We only had one session together this week, so you know, I want to spend a lot of time making sure when he does train on his own, he's more comfortable. So now we'll go ahead and put some weight on the bar. I just tell him, take it nice and easy from the ground to the 2 position, which is the knee there, and then back in. You know, obviously it looks a little awkward because he's thinking a lot about, you know, the stuff we just worked on and the cues I've given him. You know, this guy is another self-taught, you know, coachless lifter, you know, that's probably about an hour and a half away from the club, but he just happened to be in town, so he wanted to come in and start training when he's in the area. We'll go work on start position. So you can see he looks pretty uncomfortable, looks kind of awkward, but he's going to start putting it together soon here. You know, it's just a matter of getting comfortable with what we've been covering. There you go, you can see he's starting to smooth it out a little bit. You know, the key is, I tell them, I'm like, don't even worry about the speed. You know, worry about hitting the correct positions first, and then we can start to smooth it out. You can see there, he's getting more and more comfortable. We're starting to speed it up. We're getting the rhythm back, you know, I refer to it as the tempo. You want a nice smooth tempo with the snatch, no matter how much weight's on the bar. Some people have a different approach. They prefer speed, 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 no matter what weight's on the bar. I prefer tempo over speed. And I I tell them to increase the speed only as necessary, or I should say power. Only apply as much power as needed to move the weight, but tempo should always be the same. I believe that helps build consistency the most. So we're just going to slowly work our way up. We're up to 45 kilos here. There's some inconsistencies with his lifting, but overall he's starting to put together really well. He's not jumping forward. He's keeping the weight back in the heels a little bit longer. So I'm just going to let him go up here. We've got 55 kilos on the bar. His max snatch is only 70 kilos. So we're just going to let him work his way up and see how far he can push with some, fairly good technique. There you go. Pretty decent lift there. Alright, up to 60 kilos. Oh. Didn't quite get aggressive enough in the extension, I don't think, and that's why I left it out in front a little bit. And without stopping to review the video, there could be a couple other factors that caused him to miss the lift. I think definitely one of the things he could work on is being more explosive in that extension. But I also believe that these new technique cues that we've been using and getting more vertical in this drive is throwing him off a little bit. So that will come. I'm not gonna push it too much right now. There's no point. He's just trying to get comfortable. That was a really good lift for him. That looks solid. 62 kilos. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do one last lift here. 65 kilos, just 5 kilos under his max snatch, and then after this we'll call it a day. Wasn't the best lift, but I think he felt good to get within 5 kilos of his max snatch, because I believe that was a one-time thing for him back a little while ago.